All that, hot topics, and more coming up on The View.
There have been a lot of controversial medical hot topics making headlines that are raising our blood pressure. So we called the doctors in to get the real deal. Please welcome internist Dr. Stephen Lamb, pediatrician Dr. Tanya Altman, and certified nutrition specialist Dr. Jeffrey Morrison. That was a mouthful. Welcome, doctors. So we got a lot of questions. We're going to start with you, Dr. Lamb. The biggest health story last week in the cover of the New York Times was that the new recommendations say healthy men should no longer receive a PSA blood test to screen for prostate cancer. That's really surprising. What's that mean for men?
I disagree. That's number one. But let me just preface my statement. Medicine has always been an art as much as a science. It's hard to dictate one policy fits all. It's not the case. The prostate cancer is a leading cause of death in men. The earliest signal, however poor it is the PSA. The discussion should be not over the PSA, but what to do with results and how to screen more effectively. The PSA is a poor screening test, but it's the best signal we currently have
right now.
Hopefully the FDA will approve newer signals that are more specific for prostate cancer. PSA is specific for the prostate, not for prostate cancer.
But still
it's the best
do it.
signal.
Men should still do it.
I would still do it on an individual basis, one-on-one. That's the way medicine should be practiced.
Got it. Okay, so still do it. Dr. Tanya, as a pediatrician, we're going to tackle a new debate, which is over vaccinations. Now, last week, a new survey found that more than 1 in 10 parents use an alternative vaccination schedule for their young children, including refusing vaccines altogether. So can you tell us, what does this mean for kids when you refuse the vaccines?
Well, an alternative vaccine schedule is an unproven or delayed vaccine schedule, not approved by the American Academy of Pediatrics or the CDC. And this does leave young children vulnerable to serious illness and disease, such as measles, polio, and whooping cough. And these diseases are real. In my home state of California, we've recently seen 10,000 cases of whooping cough, and 10 babies died from this preventable disease.
Because the parents refused?
So you're saying have it later? Is that what alternative vaccinations mean, do it later? Is that what they're talking about?
I'm saying to follow the recommended schedule and protect your children. Parents today are very lucky because they haven't seen such serious diseases. And if they wait, we will see a resurgence of illness and death.
Well, why do they have to give it all at once? I think that's why parents are saying they give them this big Molotov cocktail and they're so young.
They are so young, and that's why we want to protect them, because when a young baby gets whooping cough, that's when they're more likely to have trouble breathing.
But you know, that one of the things that is said is that white parents are more likely to delay vaccinations, according to research. But we've been hearing about vaccinations more and more. There was a time when parents automatically did it. Why is there this scare tactic now?
Well, this study was completed over a year ago, and since then there has been a lot more information on vaccine safety. And I'd like to point out that in the study, nearly 9 out of 10 parents do follow the recommended vaccine schedule that I gave my own boys.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to Dr. Morrison. You're a health and nutrition expert. This next medical hot topic is a new study came out yesterday. It says popping vitamins may do more harm than good for women. Because I pop vitamins all the time. What specifically are we talking about?
Okay, well, this is a huge study that came out of the University of Minnesota. It was published in the Archives of Internal Medicine, which is a very prestigious medical journal. And the conclusion of the study suggests that people that take supplements have an increased risk of death. Now, the supplements that they were referring to were copper, iron, and a multivitamin.
I'm trying to stop my boobs from falling off. Now I'm gonna die. Just so.
Well, there's 2 main points that I wanted to take from this.
Okay.
The first one is people should be not just going out and taking supplements. The supplements are used for a particular purpose, and they should be working with a healthcare provider who is trained to be able to do blood work and diagnose if there's any nutritional deficiencies that the supplement can help to replace. And the study showed that women that were taking iron had an increased risk of dying when they're postmenopausal, but if they need iron when they are still having their menstrual cycle because they're anemic, then of course they need to take iron as a supplement because it can be life-saving.
Doctor, I have not had a doctor in recent years who suggested taking vitamins if you didn't need them for a specific reason, like calcium or vitamin D, that the same vitamin that may nourish the body can also nourish the cancer. And the doctors that I have been to do not recommend that we pop all of these vitamins, and that's why most people say, oh, a multivitamin, that's okay, but it isn't. So can you comment on this?
Yeah, you know, I'm glad you brought that up because I think it's important to have a distinction. So when people are taking supplements, in the study, it showed that when people were taking a multivitamin, they had a 41% increased chance of death. Whereas if they were not taking the supplement, it was only 40% chance of risk of death. So it almost seems like the statistics don't add up.
But in general, do you think that women in general, if they don't have a specific need, an iron or a calcium or so forth, should be taking
here's the other issue.
multivitamins?
Unfortunately, with the diets that many people follow, which is high in processed foods, which are low in vitamins and minerals, taking a supplement actually makes sense for people that don't follow a nutritious meal plan.
Dr. Lamb, I wanted to know, can you weigh in on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to improve the nutrient value of the foods we're taking in. We're only absorbing 50% of the nutrients in the foods because of the nature of the foods that we have, the processed, the refined, and we eat so quickly, and our guts are so inflamed that we're actually not absorbing nutrients. So you want to be very specific about which nutrients you want to supplement. Vitamin D, omega-3s, calcium, B12, folic acid.
What about a multivitamin, which is what
I think a multivitamin is just a combination. I think that if you get fruits, vegetables, and fiber, you don't need the multivitamin, but you probably do need the vitamin D, especially unless you live in California. You're just not going to get enough sun, and certainly the omega-3s.
Thank you. Now we're going to go to you, Dr. Tanya, and the next hot topic is about flu season, which is coming up, and there's a lot of debate about what age a child should be, you know, when they get their flu shot. So what age, and should they get one? What kind? Tell us.
So everyone 6 months of age and older should get a flu vaccine. Even if you had it last flu season, it's the same vaccine this year, but you still need it again.
All right.
There are two types of flu vaccines, the flu shot and the nasal spray flu mist. The flu mist can be given to anyone aged 2 through 49 who does not have a history of wheezing or asthma. And as you can imagine, the flu mist is very popular in my office because there's no needles involved. My boys and I sniffed it a few weeks ago.
We got Jeffrey the flu
but
mist.
But if you do it, because I just had my flu shot yesterday, it doesn't hurt. So do you think that, I remember you gave us flu shots. So do you think that everyone should have a flu shot? Every adult now, if they can? Yeah, Dr. Lamb?
If you have a pulse.
And you can't catch the flu from the flu vaccine.
Okay. Doctors, thank you so much for coming. We want to thank all the doctors. We're going to be right back.